We're going to talk about today, what does it mean to be an embedded church? To be an integral part of your community. And the question we want to challenge you with today as we talk about sustainability, as we talk about creative financial options for you to do what God has called you to do, as we talk about building and architecture, we want to begin that with this premise. If your church closed its doors today, would anybody notice? Now, we know that you would probably have parishioners that would show up on a Sunday morning and have a lot of questions for somebody. But what about those who live around you? Are you filling a need, a void inside of your community that would be greatly missed if you weren't there? Are we meeting the needs, both spiritually, practically, economically, inside of our community and city, where when people look at your church, even if they don't attend your church, and even if they don't believe in Jesus yet, that they would look and say, man, this community is a better place because those people showed up for us. This last year, we've had the privilege of writing a book, The God of New Beginnings, with Thomas Nelson. We've got a copy for you guys. If you didn't get one of those, would love to give it to you. And I really want to set a theological and practical ministry framework for the conversations that we're going to have today. And I believe that any framework of ministry really begins with this idea of being a people who willingly run into the mess. John chapter 1, we know it well. It's John's introduction of Jesus. And he tells us, in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And everything that was ever created was created through Him. And what an incredible picture, that Jesus is the God of scientific precision and order. That He set the cosmos in the sky, that He created untold universes that we can't even comprehend today, that He created this small blue planet that sat at just the right axis, that spins at just the right speed, that has just the right mixture of air in our atmosphere to sustain the life and growth and humanity. And it was the God of scientific perfection, the God of order and beauty, that we read in John chapter 1, verse 14, became flesh and blood and dwelt among us. What an incredible picture. God never had to experience pain. God never had to know our rebellion and our sin. God could have looked at this human experience and just snapped and wiped us out of the memory of time. But instead, He ran towards us, not away from us. He ran towards our hate. He ran towards our scorn. He ran towards our shame. He ran towards our cross, as if to say, no matter how bad, no matter how lost, no matter how broken, no matter how hopeless it may seem, I am here now, and everything's going to be okay. I believe that an embedded ministry takes on the call of incarnational ministry. The call to be a people that choose to go and to live, to give, and to serve as the hands and feet, the very presence of Jesus inside of our communities. Most of us here, probably all of us here, remember in great detail the events of the morning of September 11th, 2001. And one of the lasting images that have been left in my mind are the pictures of a sea of humanity pushing on foot, filling 8, 10, 12-lane highways and bridges, trying to get out of the city, trying to run away from the fires, trying to get away from the mayhem. But there were a select few who pushed past the crowd and ran towards the brokenness. It was those first responders, many of which gave their lives, that I believe painted a beautiful picture of the Great Commission that the church has been given. Therefore, because of the authority and the power that we have received through Jesus, go into all the world. And our hopes today, that as we talk about building campaigns, we're talking about incarnation. That as we talk about sustainable finances and businesses that help fuel our mission, that we understand that all of that is about equipping and empowering you and your congregation to strap on the overcoat of Jesus and to go into the mess of our world. Running into the mess really is what church ministry is all about. And I think gone are the days where effective churches can kind of hole up in the four walls of a church building and bide our time till Jesus comes back. We've got a job to do, and that job is outside of our buildings and in a world that the Apostle Paul told us is perishing every day.